classroom. This is day 8 of 30, and in this lesson, we are going to be looking at data transformation in Power BI. And here is my Power Query. And as the name implies, Power Query is not different from the Power Query, or not so different from the Power Query that we have in Excel. And since it's the same company that produced the two software, that's why we have similar template, similar structure. So here is my Power Query, and we're going to be doing some basic transformation and cleansing of our data before we can proceed to analysis. The question now is, what is the essence of cleaning? What is the essence of transforming our data? And the essence is very simple. Most of the time, you won't be the originator of whatever data you are working with. So because there's possibility that maybe while collecting the data, while structuring the data, there might be errors, there might be a lot of misinformation, there might be a lot of structural gap in the process. So because of all of those things, it's very expedient that you as an analyst, you bring in your data into Power Query so that you can transform and clean it and ensure that it's in a usable form and it will not give you whatever any error in the process. So that's the essence of querying and cleansing of data. So let's get started as soon as we can. So now we have data already in this software. The last class, one of the last class that we had, I've already shown us how we can import data into Power BI. So now my data is here already, and I can do a couple of things with Power Query. Now the first thing that I want to show you is many a time, especially if you have not used it before, if it's your first time, it is possible that you load data into Power Query or into Power BI, and you observe that instead of having the headers as the way you are seeing it like this, the headers becomes part of the entry. So where we have this date, we'll be having posted loading slip as part of the entries that we have. And your headings will look like something like column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, and so on and so forth. So in that case, if I proceed with analysis as such, what will happen is that instead of having all of these headers as the name of my column, I'll be having very funny names like column 1 as the name, which becomes so difficult for me to know which one is which one. So what do we do in that case? It's very simple. If you come just like Excel, this is also our ribbon where we can get things done. So a lot of things happens there, and it's actually where most magic happens when we talk about Power Query. So how do we navigate that? What we just need to do is just come to your ribbon. You will see use first row as header. So if I click this use first row as header, automatically the first row in my entry becomes my header. You can see what just happened. Here we had date before, so that date that was there before is now the header. So in a case where your header is actually showing as part of the data entry, then all you need to do is use first row as header. So since I don't want this, I can actually undo. So the same way we undo in Microsoft Word, in Microsoft Excel using Ctrl Z, we can also undo here, but it's just that we can't use that shortcut. So all we need to do is, if you have done anything that you feel you did it in error and you need to undo, all you just need to do is come to apply steps, and you can actually close that particular step that have been applied. The good part here is that unlike those other software where if you've observed that your error came like 3 steps backward, you have to start the undoing process from the most recent then to that third stage that you're interested in. But in this case, I can go far back, leaving the ones that I just did. I can go far back and I will close that particular step that have been applied. That's one good thing about this one. So let me just go ahead and undo. So another thing you can do is, of course, there are times that you observe that there are some wrong entries and you need to replace them, you need to change them. I can also use replace values. So if I want to replace this ABJ with any other thing, let's say I want to write it as Abuja, for example, I'll just click replace values. Then let me wait for that to pop up. Replace values. All right. So what do I want to replace? I want to replace ABJ with what? With Abuja. So anywhere it sees this particular, string function, it will automatically be replaced with what I have here. Then I can click OK. So there are a couple of other things we can do here. I can also remove column. If there's any column that I feel I don't need, I can delete the column. So you just select the column you want to delete, then you delete. So automatically that column is gone and gone for good. So I can undo if I also wish to undo from there. There's another thing you can do from here. We can also add column. either based on formula, based on calculation, whatever column you want to add, you can add, if I click on this custom column, for example, it's going to show me what I can do. So what do I want to do? New name, and what's the name of the new column? I will name that particular column. Then custom formula is either I want to multiply by a particular value or I want to add something. So if I want to apply custom formula, I'll just input the formula I want to use there. So let's say I want to add the values from one column to another column. So I'll just go ahead and select that column, maybe home vehicle number, that's the header. So once I select insert, then maybe I want to add it to something else. Plus, of course, whatever column you are selecting, since what you are doing is you are carrying out numeric calculation, it has to be numeric. So you can select any other column that you are interested in, or if I want to multiply a number by 5 or by whatever, I can simply go ahead and do so. But if by chance I select a column that is not a number formatted, automatically I'm going to get this error message that I have here. So once I'm done and there's no error, then I can now click OK. So let me say, for example, I want to multiply. So I'll just do something like this, multiply by 3 or something. So now you can see that now that there's no error, I can now, click OK and I'll be able to proceed. So then a new column would be added to this data set. As we progress, we understand that we don't want to always create new columns because of our data size. Now you can see we are seeing, some error messages. That's because probably the column that we selected and we used to calculate, to create this column is having some errors. So those are the things that we try to figure out as far as data transformation is concerned in Power Query. So I'll take down this custom because I don't need it actually. So let me just take it down. So go back to home, then remove column. The last thing that I want to show you in Power Query is what we call append queries. Of course, we are aware that we can bring in as many tables as possible into Power Query. So if we have more than one table, append queries simply means that you are trying to add up, you are trying to stack up more than one table. So if you have week 1 data, week 2 data, week 1 data has actually the same structure as week 2 data. So, and I'm interested in combining them by stacking them up. All I need to do is to append queries. And then once I click append queries, I will see this option. You can see 2 tables, 3 or more tables. So if my interest is 3 or more tables, I'll just select 3 or more tables. But here, I only imported just 1 table. That's why I'm seeing just 1. But in your case, you will have multiple tables that you are interested in appending. Select all the tables, click add, you find it somewhere around there, then you just simply click OK and you'll be good to go. That will be right about all for this class, and I'll see you in the next class.